You are about to make a $1,000 mistake. Buying a laptop in 2025 is more confusing than ever, and one wrong choice means you're stuck with an expensive paperweight for years. Everyone is worried about AI, performance, and future-proofing, and most buying guides just throw specs at you. But what if I told you there's a simple, foolproof method to get it right? Welcome to the ultimate laptop buying guide for 2025. In the next few minutes, I'm not just going to give you specs. I'm going to give you a framework for thinking. A system that will empower you to see past the marketing hype and choose the perfect machine for your needs. So whether you're a student, a professional creative, or a hardcore gamer, stay tuned. Foundational rules. Quick tip before we dive in. Buying a phone is different from buying a laptop. When it comes to phones, you want to stick to your budget and find a good deal. But with laptops, it's often worth it to stretch your budget a bit, because better hardware lasts longer and works faster. A laptop you spend $800 on today will likely feel much better in 3 years than a $500 one, making it a smarter long-term investment. Also, if you want pure performance for the money, desktops are unbeatable. Only get a laptop if you truly need portability. Be honest with yourself. If it's going to sit on a desk 99% of the time, a mini PC or a desktop will give you double the power for the same price. The red flags. Laptops to avoid at all costs. First, let's talk about the traps. What are the red flags you should immediately look for on a spec sheet that scream, "Do not buy"? If the processor says Celeron, Pentium, or Athlon, just skip it. These chips have very few cores and low clock speeds, meaning even basic multitasking like having a few browser tabs open with a video call can bring them to a crawl. Also, stay away from Chromebooks unless you just want a device for browsing and streaming. Here's another huge red flag. eMMC storage. If you see 64GB eMMC or 128GB eMMC, run away. This is basically a cheap SD card soldered onto the motherboard, and it is painfully slow. For everything else, get a Windows laptop. For example, instead of a Chromebook. You can often find a much more capable entry-level Windows machine, like the Acer Aspire 3. For a similar price. I'll leave a link to it in the description so you can see what I mean. Mac users, check the links below. Step 1. Find your tribe, your user group. This is the most important step, and the one most people get wrong. So, how do you find your tribe? It's about being honest about your real-world use, not your aspirations. There are 3 main groups: productivity, students, office tasks, business apps. You'll focus on RAM, battery, and portability. But also, a high-quality keyboard and trackpad are crucial. Because they are your main interaction points. Look for good key travel and a large, responsive trackpad. For connectivity, having at least one Thunderbolt or USB 4 port is a game changer, allowing you to connect to a monitor, charger, and accessories with a single cable. A perfect example for this group is the Lenovo Yoga Slim 6i. You can find this model linked in the description below. Creative, designers, coders, music producers. CPU power, screen quality, and RAM matter most. Look for displays with high color accuracy. 100% sRGB is the minimum, but for video work, you want 90% plus DCI-P3 coverage. A fast SD card reader can also save you hours of transfer time. For this category, think of something like the Dell XPS 15. My recommendation for this one is in the description. High performance, gamers, video editors, AI pros, GPU and CPU power plus a great screen are essential. Here, you need to look beyond the GPU name and check for a MUX switch, which ensures you get maximum performance from your graphics card. A robust cooling system is non-negotiable to prevent thermal throttling and performance loss during long sessions. A great example is the ASUS ROG Zephyrus G16. I've dropped a link to this beast for you down below. Now, I want to hear from you. Let me know in the comments which user group you belong to. It helps me create better content for you. Step 2. Decoding RAM. Alright, let's talk about RAM, or your laptop's short-term memory. How much is truly enough in 2025? For productivity users, 16 GB of dual-channel DDR5 RAM is the new standard. 8 GB can work, but you will feel it slow down. For creative or high-performance use, 32 GB is the sweet spot. And make sure it's dual channel, meaning 2 sticks of RAM. Single channel RAM can cripple your performance, especially on laptops without a dedicated GPU. Step 3. The brain, CPU decoded. Now for the brain of the operation, the CPU. That string of letters and numbers can be confusing, so let's decode it in 60 seconds. You'll see letters like U, P, H, HS, HX. U means low power, long battery. HX means max performance, short battery. For creative and high performance work, only consider H, HS, or HX series. In 2025, you should look for CPUs with both performance cores and efficiency cores, P cores and E cores. As a baseline, Intel 12th Gen or AMD Ryzen 5000 series is the absolute minimum you should consider for a good experience. Step 4. The powerhouse, GPU. Do you actually need a dedicated graphics card? This is a $1,000 question, so listen closely. For productivity, the integrated graphics on modern CPUs are fantastic. But for gaming, editing, or AI, you need a dedicated NVIDIA RTX or AMD RX GPU. Pay attention to the TGP, total graphics power, and the VRAM. In 2025, 8 GB of VRAM is the new sweet spot for high-quality 1080p gaming. The AI hype, NPU, explained. Okay, the elephant in the room, AI chips or NPUs. Is it all hype, or do you need one? Right now, most heavy AI work happens in the cloud. An NPU, neural processing unit, in your laptop, like those in Intel's Core Ultra chips, primarily handles small tasks like blurring your background on a video call more efficiently. Don't buy a laptop just because it has an NPU. Think of it as a nice bonus for future applications, not a must-have feature today. The Holy Trinity: storage, display, connectivity. You stare at your screen for hours. You rely on its speed every second, and you connect it to everything. Do not overlook these final components. Storage. Get at least a 512 GB SSD, but 1 TB is the new recommended standard, as apps and games are getting huge. Look for PCIe Gen 4 NVMe SSDs for the best speeds, especially if you're a creative pro. Display. 1080p Full HD is great, but the panel type matters more. Look for IPS for great viewing angles, or OLED for perfect blacks and incredible contrast, which is amazing for media consumption. Pay attention to brightness. 300 nits is the minimum for comfortable indoor use. 500 nits or more if you work near bright windows. Connectivity. Look for Wi-Fi 6E or even Wi-Fi 7 for future-proofing your connection. And as mentioned before, Thunderbolt 4 or USB 4 ports are essential for modern workflows with docks and fast external storage. The final step, the brand. So you've built your perfect laptop on paper. Now, and only now, do we talk about the brand. This matters for build quality, keyboard feel, and customer support. Stick to trusted brands like ASUS, HP, Lenovo, and Dell. Read reviews on the specific model you've chosen. Your final checklist and outro. That's it. You now have a proven system. Before you click buy, run through this quick checklist. Did you pick your user group honestly? Is the RAM 16 gigabytes or more and dual channel? Does it have an SSD and not eMMC storage? Does the screen have at least 300 nits of brightness? If this guide saved you from a costly mistake, the best way to thank me is to hit that subscribe button and share this video with a friend who's also confused. My goal is to help everyone buy smarter in 2025. Thanks for watching. Go unlock your full potential with your dream laptop, and if you have any questions, drop them in the comments below. I read and reply to as many as I can. See you in the next one.